Did any of y'all have anything you wanted to share for the week, man?
I just want to throw out one thing. I heard a really good testimony. I was telling James a minute ago. This guy's name was Tony Anthony, and he was a kung fu master. Basically, did martial arts his whole life, and gotten a lot of bad stuff. Kind of led him into bodyguarding for these elite people, and kind of went down the wrong road. Long story short, he ended up in a Cyprus prison, and it's bad news. He's there for 3 years, and he gets this letter one day, and he's lost everything. He lost his family. The woman that he loved was killed in a car wreck. He's got nowhere to turn. He's just in a really bad area of his life. And he gets this letter from this man that he doesn't even know. Guy's from Australia. I can't remember his name. Call him William or whatever. But the letter says, has a smiley face on the front of it. And it says, just to let you know, I know you don't know me from Adam. I don't care what you did. I don't care why you're in prison. I met Jesus, and Jesus wants me to extend his ministry by, saying hello to you. To make a long story short, Tony's like, man, I have nothing to do with it. Crumples it up, throws it away. Well, his buddy next door to him is a British soldier that's in a Cyprus prison. He starts talking to Tony, why are you upset? He goes, man, I got this letter from this guy. He's got a big old smiley face on him. Man, I got nothing going right in my life. And he goes, this guy Williams, man, he's not a bad guy, man. He just wants to talk to you. He just wants to be your friend. I mean, if anything, nothing better. You get to at least go out to the commissary and get a cold Coke with him and talk to him. It's like, yeah, Coke sounds like a good idea. Because he's drinking some nasty water in a Cyprus prison. So he gets out and he starts meeting William. Make up a long story short, after 3 years, he gives his life to Jesus. He gets out of the Cyprus prison.
3 years of meeting with William?
Yeah.
Once a week?
I don't know about once a week. He said, I can't remember if it was once a week or once a month, but he would show up over the course of the 3 years and they would talk and he would witness to him. And after 3 years, Tony gives his life to Jesus. So he gets out of the prison and he kind of goes his way. William goes his way and he's still ministering to people in the Cyprus prison. So Tony starts doing his own thing. But his testimony was unreal. It was just incredible to hear all the stuff he'd done, how his life, basically he had to be broken. How many times we talk about that, how you have to be broken and give it all up, before Jesus steps in there and turns your life around, but not that he couldn't do it any other way, but he can do it any way he wants to, but sometimes that's what people need, to be broken completely. They say, man, I give up, I can't do it, and let, Jesus come in and change your life. It was a great testimony, man. It was cool. I enjoyed it. But one thing I want to say was this one verse kept echoing in my head. There have been times, since we've been meeting where I'd say, questioning salvation. But this one verse, I'm sure y'all have heard it, was John 8:36-38, where Jesus says, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is a servant of sin. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. Man.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know, man. He kept saying that over and over and over and over in that testimony.
Well, that's the truth, though.
Man.
We start off as sinners. We accept Jesus Christ, and now we're free. And that's as truth as truth can be.
One of the things that I think people get confused on, there are people that claim to be a Christian, but perhaps they're really not. And they may continue on in habitual sin or whatever. So a Christian will then say to that person, you can't be a Christian and continue in sin. But really, there's no argument there if the Christian perceives it, I think, correctly. Once Jesus Christ really gets a hold of it, you know what I mean? If you do sin, and we will, but it hurts, man.
Yeah.
It hurts. It's like, oh, Father, please forgive me. I mean, you be over there talking to your friend, dude. I got to, man, save somebody else.
Your conscience, that inner spirit inside of you, is what challenges you to correct those bad habits that you have. Because we there is no such thing as living in this world without sin. Everybody sins. If we say we don't, then we call God a liar. Because God said all men is in. And you can't do good, because good is not, the only good that you can do is accept His Son and place your faith in Him. And His work on the cross is what allows us to be able to have a relationship with God. Without that relationship through His Son, well then we just like every ordinary person. We can't be called Christian. But Christians go every day struggling with everything that other people struggle with, except that they have some place and they have a foundation.
And the Holy Spirit.
And the Holy Spirit working with them to help them get through that portion of their problems areas. So I don't see how we can live. We can't live outside of sin. We don't have to live in sin.
That's a good point.
Yeah, sin surrounds us, but we don't have to do what consciously. Yeah. We have to consciously go out and do wrong, and that's what sanctification comes in.
I can tell you that, like with me, back when I was just drinking alcohol, it wasn't necessarily that I liked to drink alcohol and go out and party. What I wanted to do was escape my problems.
Yeah. And you thought that was the best way to do it?
Well, the only way I could escape the life that I had in my mind was to get a little buzz going. You know what I'm saying? And that would alter my conscience to the point that then what I was experiencing wasn't so bad. But when God stepped in and removed those hurts, those frustrations and those things, what's the big deal about alcohol? You know, now I'm sure that alcohol maybe affects another person in a different way, in that maybe they're doing it for another reason. But with me, I needed my problems resolved.
And alcohol was the way. He found it.
Yeah.
The resolution was in the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, once God dealt with my issues, okay. You know, and people called me an alcoholic. Judges sent me to see Alcoholics Anonymous. And I swore up and down I wasn't. I said, man, I just got problems. But Alcoholics Anonymous was going to be my solution. And it's good to go in and talk about what you're experiencing and all that stuff, which they do in those meetings. But I remember this one day very vividly. After I cried out to God, and after so many things started happening, I was still mad. I was so mad at people, specific people. I mean, there was a man that had I been able to get my hands on him, it was going to be a fight. The only thing that saved him from a good fight was that we never met during that period of time. That's the only thing that saved him. And I remember I got into the shower one day, and I turned the water on. I started taking a shower. And as I was taking that shower, God spoke to me. Now, it wasn't verbal. It was literally in myself. God said, Byron, today we're going to deal with anger. I'll never forget this. It was just like, today we're going to deal with anger. Now, a lot of people might say, as soon as you turn to God, that problem should have gone away. I feel as if throughout our life, there's that Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go, Marshall. Today is your day to deal with this situation.
I'm not ready for deal with that right now.
Are you serious? But I stepped into that shower, and I remember as I took the shower, God said, we're going to deal with anger. And when I stepped out of that shower, I was no longer angry. No longer angry. It happened.
Did you mean interrupt you? All the anger went away, or just for that man in that situation?
All of it.
Wow.
I was mad at the sheriff's department. I was mad at the dude.
Wow.
I was mad at this dude. I was mad.
Angry with everybody. Wow. The world was your challenge.
It was just like It was a miraculous.
My phone was buzzing.
Oh, I thought it was. It was as miraculous. I mean, and I called Leanne. I said, Leanne, God just took my anger away. But another thing about that is that I'd spent days driving down the road, in my head, in my mind, it would be so bad. I would be driving down the road, and I would just be upset driving down the road. I mean, nobody had to put on the brakes in front of me. Nobody had to, stop or anything like that. I would just be mad at the situation. Mm-hmm. And I would yell out inside the van. Whatever. No, I would just yell. I said, God, you got to help me. You got to take this away from me. And I knew consciously what was happening. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until that day, and then it was quiet. It was that still small voice as I was getting in that shower. It was like, Byron, today's the day. And it happened in the course of taking a shower, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I've heard people say that. I've heard other testimonies where people have been delivered from alcohol and drugs immediately. I've never touched it again. But I've also heard others, and I know in my particular situation, I'm still fighting anger. I haven't had that moment yet. I wish I could have that tonight, where he just says, we're just going to take it all away. I haven't gotten that yet. Now, I will say one thing. When I was, during the time that I was, using and abusing drugs, I remember, I knew what I was doing was wrong. And I said, I need God to deliver me from this. And it was interesting because the effects that they had no longer had an effect on me. And I knew what was going on. I was like, good Lord, man. I've cranked up the dosage here. I should be feeling something. And man, there was nothing.
So you were taking more drugs and not even feeling it?
I wasn't feeling a thing. And I was like, this is crazy. But I knew what was going on. I was like, I'm being delivered here. He's delivering me from this. I don't need this in my life anymore. So much so that when I finally threw it away and it wasn't out of me, I felt like God delivered me from it. But I was able to do it without having really any withdrawal, with anything, any kind of bad side effect or anything. It was just gone.
It was a God thing.
It was incredible. It was like, wow, it's incredible.
So how did these things occur in us? Did we do it?
Through prayer.
Or did our prayers do it?
Well, yeah, you gotta lean on.
Our cries out to God.
Yeah. God stepping in.
He stepped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have done it.
Yeah, he did it for the children of Israel after 400 years. He heard them. Huh? Glad you didn't have to go 400 years.
I don't know that all 400 years was as bad as the actual end of it. But that's what I never realized. And I got to tell you that, I grew up in church, early age. But I heard people say things, but I never realized how powerful God can be in one's life until things started happening to me. But he can step in the course of a shower and deal with you. What would have taken me 20 years in myself.
Is somebody now?
Yeah, that may be Sean. What would have taken me 20, 30 years working it out on my own. I just took a shower and it was gone. Washed it off.
Yeah, God is awesome. And he works with all of us differently, too. He works, each one of us differently. He took Moses and put him out in the middle of the desert for 40 years before he could use him.
That's right.
Before he could use Abraham, Abraham was 100 years old.
Isn't it funny though? Sometimes we want to rush the process. I know my.
Oh yeah, everybody. Yeah, now let's do it.
Let's do it now.
Yeah, I want to get rid of this problem now.
Yeah. It's like no, it's not God's time.
You got to learn first.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to accept what I give you. Because I'm going to use you for more than what you want to be used for. And we want to do it for selfish reasons. God's going to remove it for his glory. And that's where we miss the mark.